everyone, welcome back to Sadak, the Achievers. So all of you, today we'll be continuing the first lecture of chemistry, that is atomic structure, right? ఈ అటామిక్ స్ట్రక్చర్ చాప్టర్లో ఈరోజు మనం థర్డ్ లెక్చర్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం. సో ఇప్పటి వరకు ఈ అటామిక్ స్ట్రక్చర్లో వీ హ్యావ్ డిస్కస్ సబ్ అటామిక్ పార్టికల్స్, రైట్? లైక్ ఎలక్ట్రాన్స్, న్యూట్రాన్స్, ప్రోటాన్స్, దేర్ డిస్కవరీస్ అండ్ ఈవెన్ దేర్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఆల్సో వీ హ్యావ్ సీన్, రైట్? అండ్ ప్రీవియస్ లెక్చర్లో ఆల్రెడీ వీ హ్యావ్ స్టార్టెడ్ దిస్ అటామిక్ మోడల్స్, అవునా? అందులో మనం ఆల్రెడీ థామ్సన్ మోడల్ అండ్ ద రుదర్ఫర్డ్ మోడల్ చూసాం, వాటి డ్రాబ్యాక్స్ కూడా చూసాం, రైట్? సో another model that we are going to start today is nothing but the Bohr's model, right? So before this Bohr's model, the Bohr used these two important developments of science, right, which helped him to complete the Bohr's atomic model, right? So what are those two important things? First one is dual nature of electromagnetic radiation. So ఏదైతే electromagnetic radiation మనం ఆల్రెడీ డిస్కస్ చేసామో ఆ electromagnetic radiation కి టూ నేచర్స్ ఉన్నాయని చెప్పేసి సైంటిస్ట్ కనుగొన్నారు. సో దాన్ని యూజ్ చేసుకొని ఆన్ ద బేసిస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ డ్యూయల్ నేచర్ ఆఫ్ ఎలక్ట్రోమాగ్నెటిక్ రేడియేషన్ హీ డెవలప్డ్ హిస్ మోడల్. సో వాట్ ఆర్ దోస్ డ్యూయల్ నేచర్స్? వాట్ ఆర్ దోస్ టూ డ్యూయల్ నేచర్స్? ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఈస్ ద వేవ్ నేచర్. సో ద వేవ్ నేచర్. So the electromagnetic radiation has the wave nature, and another nature is the particle nature. Particle nature, right? So dual nature of electromagnetic theory em cheptundi manaki, wave nature means the electromagnetic radiation is acting as a wave, and also it is also acting as a particle means any atom, or if we say any nucleus or any minute particle which behaves in a particles, right? It can travel in any direction, or the properties of that particle will be applied to the electromagnetic radiation also. So the nature of this electromagnetic radiation is also in a particle nature, right? So these are the two dual nature of electromagnetic radiations. Next we have this atomic spectra. So this atomic spectra, to explain this we require one important property, that is quantizing, right? Or we say quantized electronic energy of an atom. So whatever the atom that we have, right, if we are able to quantize the electronic energy of it, that will only give us the atomic spectra. So with the help of this electronic energy quantization, we can explain this atomic spectra. Without this we cannot explain this, and this complete development helped him to give his another improvement of his atomic models. Okay, so these are the main important topics, or we say the developments which helped him to finalize, or we say give the proper structure of an atom. Okay, so let us see one by one. So in this dual nature of electromagnetic radiation, first we'll start with wave nature, right? So coming to wave nature here, so who discovered this, or who explained this wave nature of electron? So the scientist named James Maxwell, right? So what he said, so he performed an experiment, or he explained a phenomenon where the interaction between the radiation and the matter and radiation means any light energy, or we can say any electromagnetic radiation simply. So the interaction of this matter and the radiation, he explained that interaction, and by that he said that whenever the interaction between radiation and matter is seen, right, in that case what happened, there is an oscillating electrical and magnetic field, or magnetic aspects will be released. So we can see that when there is an interaction between matter and radiation, we'll see that there will be a oscillating electrical and magnetic, we say the components will be generated. Electrical and magnetic generation will be there, oscillating. Okay, so this oscillating electrical and magnetic field will be generated. So this is what the interaction that is studied for the first time, right? So this gave us, whenever this oscillating and electrical magnetic generation is done, so this radiation, right? So these two things, what we are saying, that generation of this radiation is in the form of waves, is in the form of waves. Okay, and he named these waves as the electromagnetic waves. He named these waves as the electromagnetic waves, right? Electromagnetic waves. So that radiation emitted by this interaction of matter and radiation, right, is in the form of electrical and magnetic generation, or magnetic oscillating electrical and magnetic waves, right? So these generation is in the form of waves, and this wave is named as the electromagnetic waves. That is what the wave nature of electromagnetic radiation that we can get it from him by his explanation here. So if you can see that these electromagnetic waves are nothing but, we have named these electromagnetic radiations as the electromagnetic waves by the, because of the nature, wave nature of this electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so if you can observe that his experiment, or whatever the observation that he made, if you can see that here, this is a propagation wave. Okay, so in this, if you can see this here, okay, this is the direction of propagation, right? And this blue wave is nothing but the of the magnetic field component, and this is of the electric field component, that is in the color of red here. So these three, right, we are saying the radiation, that is nothing but the direction of the radiation, right? So this magnetic field, electric field, and the direction of the propagation, these three are mutually perpendicular, means the electrical field right, is perpendicular to the magnetic field, and these two are perpendicular to the direction of propagation, Okay, so first observation he made in this conclusion is, the first one is the magnetic field and the electrical field are mutually perpendicular, and these two are also perpendicular to the direction of propagation, right? So this is the first point that he has concluded by his observations, right? And the second point he said is, these waves, right, these electromagnetic waves are don't require any medium, right? Not requiring medium. Okay, unlike the sound waves or the water waves, these don't require any medium to propagate. Okay, so these are the electromagnetic waves are not requiring any medium. They can travel in vacuum. Right? So these are the two important observations he made. And the next observation is the electromagnetic spectrum. What is that electromagnetic spectrum? So we know that electromagnetic waves are generated, right? They are following the wave nature, and they are forming the waves. So these waves are having different frequencies and the wavelength. So whatever the electromagnetic waves that we have, they have the various frequencies and they have various wavelengths. So because of these two, right, the constraint of these frequencies and the wavelengths, we can say that the electromagnetic waves can generate the spectrum. These are constraints, these two constraints called as the spectrum of electromagnetic radiation. In this electromagnetic radiation is forming a spectrum, which is nothing but which constitutes of different wavelengths or the frequencies. Okay, so this is about the electromagnetic spectrum. So you can see that what are these different electromagnetic spectrums. Okay, first you can see that around 10 to the power of 9 or 10 to the power of 8 to 10 to the power of 0, you can see these are the radio waves, right? So these radio waves we use in the broadcasting, right? Broadcasting, where radio slow, TV slow, right? The signal receptions, right? Where we use these radio waves, right? And the microwaves, these microwaves, where do we use the microwaves? We use in the radar, right? And infrared we use in the heating process. Avuna? And we have UV rays. UV rays ekkada use chestam manam? So we see these UV rays in the sun's heat energy. Sun's heat energy. Avuna? And the X-rays and gamma rays. So these are the wavelengths, or we say frequencies here and the wavelengths here. So you can see that frequency is increasing and the wavelength is decreasing in this direction. Frequency is increasing, wavelength is decreasing. Avuna? So whatever the different spectrums that we are able to see here, those are not visible to us. Only very small part, or we say very minute part, that is around 10 to the power of minus 10 to the power of 15, right, hertz. So this frequency spectrum or the wavelength is only visible to us. So that spectrum, this part is called as the visible spectrum. Okay, so if you can just broaden it, the spectrum, if you can broaden it, you will see the different wavelengths of it, right, which gives different color formations. Okay, so this is about the electromagnetic spectrum. Remember that we use these different electromagnetic spectrums in different functions. Okay, so this is about the spectrum. So next we have the electromagnetic radiation. So in these electromagnetic waves, whatever the radiation that we have seen, in that we discussed that this is the spectrum constitutes of frequency and the wavelength. So let us see what is this frequency exactly. So frequency is nothing but the number of waves, right, that can pass, right, at a point in 1 second. In 1 second. So how many number of waves can pass at a point, from a point, in 1 second? That is nothing but the frequency of an electromagnetic spectrum, or we say an electromagnetic wave here. So this is denoted, right? See here, if you can see that waves, number of waves, so that is number of waves per second, right? So that is nothing but number of waves that we get the formula as per second. So number of waves per second, this is our unit of this frequency. This frequency is denoted by the letter V, Latin word letter V, right? Now this per second unit also has another name, that is nothing but hertz. That is have the another name, that is hertz, which is equals to per second, and this is named after the scientist, that is Heinrich Hertz, right? On his name, it was named as the head chaser. So the frequency is this. Next we have the wavelength. So wavelength, what is this wavelength? So if you can see that, what is the length of the wave? That is wavelength, means the length unit of the wave. So what is that length unit of the wave? That is nothing but the meters, right? In SI unit that we use, right? But as these wavelengths are very small, like if you can see it here, right, in this, wavelengths are very small values, right? Now you see that visible spectrum has 400 nanometers and 750 nanometers, which is very, very small. So we also use nanometers as the unit for this wavelength. Means per unit length, how many waves are there? That is the definition of this. Per unit length means the number of waves per unit length. So this is what the definition of this wavelength. So per length, right? So that's why we use the meter SI unit here. So as this is a very small value, we use the nanometers. Okay. So this is about the wavelength. Okay. So next point, right, of this electromagnetic radiation that we can take here is, sorry. So this wavelength is denoted by the letter lambda. Wavelength is denoted by the letter lambda here. Okay, denoted by the letter lambda. Okay, so this is about the wavelength. So next, in that electromagnetic radiations part, we have another important observation of this. What is that? Maxwell said that as these electromagnetic waves can travel in vacuum, right? So in this vacuum, all the electromagnetic waves travel in same speed. The speed of all the waves, or we say with in any frequency or any wavelength, all have the same speed. All will travel with the same speed in vacuum. All the electromagnetic waves have the same speed, and the speed is nothing but 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. 8 meter per second. Okay, and he named this as the, or we say, we denote this speed as c here. We denote this speed as the c here, and this c is nothing but named as the speed of light. Speed of light. Okay, so what is the speed of light? Now we can say that c is equals to 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second, right? So vacuum lo each and every electromagnetic wave anedi same speed to travel avutundi. So enta speed adi 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. So daniki danne manamu speed of light antunnam. So what is the speed of light value now? It is nothing but c is equals to 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. Hauna? Next, so whatever the electromagnetic waves that we have seen, other than frequency and the wavelength, we have another parameter, that is wave number. Wave number. So what is this wave number? Wave number is nothing but, it is denoted by the V bar. Okay, it is denoted by the V bar. So number of waves, okay, number of waves, right, per unit, or number of wavelengths per unit length. Number of wavelengths per unit length. Number of wavelengths per unit length. So by that definition, we can say that, what is that? Number of wavelengths. So what is the number of wavelengths here? Number of wavelengths by the unit length. So if you can just write out, let us say one wavelength is there in 1 meter. So it is nothing but the per meter will be the value. Number means we have a constant here, right? And unit length, that is nothing but in meters, that we calculate the wavelengths, right? So these wavelengths, if we say that, the formula for will be per meter. So as this wavelength is very small, so most of the time we use per centimeter as the unit, not as the per meter. Okay, so the wave number we always use the per centimeter here. So we can say that this V bar, right, is nothing but 1 by lambda. Avuna? Because it is the reciprocal, here units you can see that per meter, right? What is the unit of wavelength here? That is meters, right? So that is inverse to this one. So we can easily say that lambda is 1 by lambda is nothing but the wave number. So this also we can use it here, right? And another important point that we can add it here is, so this C, whatever the speed of the light that we have got, right, in the electromagnetic waves, right, that is nothing but the product of V into lambda. V is what? The frequency, and lambda is the wavelength. So that formula, right? So this formula is helpful to find the properties whenever we require the wavelength or the frequency to find out, depending on at what frequency, what is the wavelength of the spectrum, and at what speed these are at frequencies and the wavelengths, what is the speed of that electron will be there, right? So this is what we have related with the electromagnetic waves. Okay, so now let's see the examples here. So first example, if you can see it here, that is the wavelength range of the visible spectrum that extends from the violet, that is 400 nanometers, to the red, that is 750 nanometers. So express these wavelengths in form of frequency. Just we have to change the wavelengths into the frequencies. So let us start from the first one, that is nothing but the violet, right? So violet, so wavelength is lambda, and that is of violet. How much is it? 400 nanometers. So we have to find the frequency, right? So what is the frequency? So that frequency can be found by using the formula just now we have discussed. C is equals to frequency into the wavelength, right? So from there, frequency is equals to C by lambda. Avuna? So ఇప్పుడు ఇందులో సబ్స్టిట్యూట్ చేయండి వాల్యూస్. C వాల్యూ ఎంత? 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. అవునా? అండ్ లాంబ్డా వాల్యూ ఎంత? ఇక్కడ 400 nanometers. 400 nanometers. So if you just substitute nanometers, the units are different of length here. So we are changing this nanometers into meter. 1 nanometer is equals to 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. So the 1 nanometer value is 10 to the power of 9 meters. Then 400 nanometer value will be how much? 400 into 10 to the power of minus 9. What is that values of wavelength? That is meters, right? Now this meter and this meter get cancelled, right? Now if you can simplify it, you will be getting the value around 7.5 into 10 to the power of 14 per second. Now, so what is this? That will be 7.5 into 10 to the power of 14 Hz. అవునా కదా? So what is that? Lambda, no sorry, frequency of violet. Right? So this is about the first red violet color. Next one is red color. So the red is the red. చూడండి ఇక్కడ సేమ్ ప్రాసెస్ ఇక్కడ. సో lambda of red is given how much? 750 nanometers, right? And the frequency of red is how much? So for that, simply if I can write the direct formula, C by lambda of red. So that is nothing but C is how much? 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. Next, lambda of red enta? Yes, 750 nanometers. So change the nanometers again into meters. So that will be into 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. Avuna? So if you can just simplify it, right? After the calculation, we'll get the value of 4.0 into 10 to the power of 14 per second. Because as we know that this meter and this meter both get cancelled, so we'll get per second, right? So now this value of or frequency of red is nothing but 4.0 into 10 to the power of 14, right, Hz. Okay, so this is what the two frequencies of violet and the red. So now we can say that the visible spectrum extends from, right, the visible spectrum is from 4.0 into 10 to the power of 14 to 7.5 into 10 to the power of 14 Hz. So the frequency of visible spectrum is how much? 4.0 into 10 to the power 14 to 7.5 into 10 to the power of 14 Hz. So by this problem we can remember that values. So this is the first example. Next example, example 2. Calculate the wave number and the frequencies of the LO radiation which have a wavelength of 4800 angstroms unit. So let's start with the first part of wave number. Wave number. So that is what? Wave V bar. So we already learned that V bar is equals to 1 by lambda. అవునా? So 1 by lambda. Lambda value enta 5800 angstrom units kada. So 1 angstrom unit is equals to 10 to the power of minus 10 meters or 10 to the power of minus 8 centimeters. So 1 by 5800 enta? 5800 into, let us write the 10 power of minus 10 meter. So that value is how much? 1 by 5800 into 10 to power of minus 10 meters. So that value will be around 1.724 into 10 to the power of 6 meters. Or we say 1.724 into 10 to the power of 4 centimeters. So this is what the wave number. This is what the wave number. Okay. So this is the first part is over. Next to the second part. What is the second part? We have to find out the frequency. Right. So what is the frequency here? Frequency is nothing but, we know that frequency is nothing but C by lambda that we have just solved previous problems. So C enta ikkada 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second by lambda value enta ikkada same 5800 angstrom units kada. So danni manam ఇంటూ 10⁻⁻10 మీటర్స్లోకి రాదు. సో ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ వాల్యూ ఏమొస్తుంది, 5.172 into 10⁻, the frequency here how much, 8 and 7, so that will become 10⁻14 hertz. Okay, 5.170 into 10⁻14 hertz will be the frequency of this yellow radiation. Okay, so this is about the second solution. Right, so next is particle nature of electromagnetic radiation. So by the wave nature of electromagnetic radiation, we were able to explain few phenomena, like if you take the diffraction and if you can take the interference. So these two phenomena were able to explain by the wave nature of electromagnetic radiation. Right, diffraction ante entidi, oka wave, right, when the wave is following a path, right, if you have any obstruction here, the direction of the propagation will get deviated. So wave అనేది ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఒక యాంగిల్ కొద్దిగా డీవియేట్ అయ్యి తన ప్రయాణాన్ని కొనసాగిస్తుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ explained, the diffraction process can be explained by the wave nature of this radiation, right? And another point, that is interference, means two waves, right, when these two waves are interacting with each other, what happens, the resultant wave will be the vector sum of the properties of these two individual waves here. So whatever the frequencies or the wavelengths that we have, the vector sum of these two frequencies and the wavelengths will be having a new single wave formation. So that interference was also explained by the wave nature of electromagnetic radiation, right? But this electromagnetic radiation of wave nature of this electromagnetic radiation could not explain few of the experimental results or the phenomena. For example, black body, which is nothing but how the radiations of solids behaving depending on the radiation, whatever the radiation that emitted or absorbed of the solids or the bodies, how the behavior is possible. So that was not explained, that was not able to explain by this wave nature of electromagnetic radiation. And another phenomenon is nothing but the photoelectric effect. Okay, so this photoelectric effect was also not explained by the wave nature also. So what is that? Next we have, what is the change in the energy? Okay, what is the change in the energy, right? Change in energy of atoms, right? What is the change in the energy of atoms with respect to or function of temperature? Function of temperature means when you are changing the temperature, how the energies, okay, how the energies of the atoms are changing. ఆటమ్ యొక్క ఎనర్జీ ఎలా చేంజ్ అవుతుంది, టెంపరేచర్ని డిపెండ్ చేసుకొని టెంపరేచర్ మనం చేంజ్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఆటమ్ యొక్క ఫంక్షన్ అనేది, ఆటమ్ యొక్క ఎనర్జీ అనేది ఎలా చేంజ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఆ ఫినామినా also was not explained by the wave nature of electromagnetic radiation. And another point is atomic spectra. So this atomic spectra was also not able to explain in case of, like if you take the example of, that is hydrogen atom. So how the hydrogen atom is forming the spectrum. Spectrum is nothing but that we have discussed in the previous part, right? So where the formation of different wavelengths, or we say different wavelengths of this light, right? So the spectrum is nothing but the light formations of having various frequencies. So that could not also explained by this simple wave nature of electromagnetic radiation, right? So to explain this, let us see how these properties were explained by the particle nature of electromagnetic radiation. First one, the black body. So this black body by the James Maxwell. James Maxwell. So James Maxwell was, he studied the body of a solid body. He has taken a solid body and he said that when the solid body is heated, he is applied temperature. Okay, when temperature is applied onto the solid body, heated, then there will be a generation of radiation. Okay, there will be a generation of radiation. So that radiation has various frequencies. So whatever the radiation that we have, that has various frequencies. Okay, that has various frequencies. So for example, how that various frequencies are there? For example, if you take an iron rod and if you start heating it, what happens? When the heat, when you started heating up, it will be in a dull red color. Starting low, iron rod anedi dull red color lo untundi. And now what I am doing, I am step by step I am increasing the temperature. టెంపరేచర్ని నేను స్లోగా ఇంక్రీజ్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో ఈ డల్ రెడ్ కలర్ తర్వాత కాస్త మోర్ రెడ్ కలర్లోకి చేంజ్ అవుతుంది. మోర్ రెడ్ కలర్. అండ్ ఇంకా టెంపరేచర్ పెంచుతున్న కొద్దీ ఏమవుతుంది, దిస్ విల్ చేంజ్ ఇన్ టు మోర్ అండ్ మోర్ రెడ్ కలర్. Right now again I am increasing the temperature, so it will change into white color. So this red color will change into white color. Now further increase of temperature result into formation of the rod will become blue in color. So we know that. So this red color has the very low frequency, right, and this blue color has the very high frequency. By the spectrum that we can say that it has a very high frequency. So we can say that when we are heating a body that is a solid body iron rod, we are getting various frequencies, right? Various frequencies, that is nothing but that gives us electromagnetic spectrum. Spectrum means nothing but if we have any radiation of different various, or we say all the radiations, then we call it as a spectrum, right? So that spectrum is formed here. So he defined the black body as an ideal body, right, upon heating an ideal body upon heating will emit and absorb, will emit and absorb the radiation of various, or we say absorbs the radiation of all the frequencies. So whatever the radiation is caused by this, so the ideal body is causing a radiation and it has all the frequencies, so that is called as the black body. And the radiation caused by this black body is called as the black body radiation. Black body radiation. Okay, so whenever solid body is heated, we are getting a radiation, and that radiation has various frequencies. That's why if any body upon heating emitting or absorbing the radiation of all the frequencies, that is a black body. So the black body, the radiation caused by the black body is black body radiation here. Okay, so now we can understand that whatever the radiation that we are able to see here, that is due to the heat or the energy or the temperature that we are causing it. So after that, whatever the energy that we are saying or the whatever the radiation that he has evolved, that is dependent on the temperature. So if the temperature is increasing, the radiation also increases. Okay, as the temperature increases, the radiation will also get increased. Now how this dependent of this radiation on this temperature will be seen. So for example, if you take this graph here, so in this we have taken two different temperatures, okay, T1, T2. So when T1 temperature is there, so initially when the wavelength is decreasing, the intensity of that radiation will increase to one particular point, and after that, as the wavelength continuously decreases, what happens, it will start falling it again, right? And same here also, increasing and falling down. So ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుంది, టెంపరేచర్ ఎక్కువ ఉన్నప్పుడు the intensity is high, right? And second point is it has one fixed value, it is not continuously increasing. ఈ ఇంటెన్సిటీ అనేది కంటిన్యూస్గా ఇంక్రీజ్ అవుతూ వెళ్ళట్లేదు, ఇలా వెళ్ళాలి, బట్ అలా వెళ్ళకుండా ఏమవుతుంది, ఇట్ ఈస్ కమింగ్ టు జీరో అగైన్, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫాలింగ్ డౌన్ అగైన్, రైట్? సో by that experiment, the energy here is changing or increasing in a discrete quantity. Discrete quantity. It is not increasing, or the intensity energy is not continuously increasing, right? It is not continuously increasing. It is not continuously increasing, but it is discrete quantity. The energy is increasing in a discrete quantity. So this discrete quantity, or we say the minimum amount of energy, minimum amount of energy to generate that radiation, or minimum amount of temperature to generate that radiation, is, he named it as the, that minimum amount of energy as the quantum. So this is nothing but the smallest amount of energy, smallest amount of energy. Okay, so this smallest amount of energy, that he named it as the quantum. So this theory, right, by the Planck's quantum theory, this theory has named as the Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation, right? And he said that, so this energy, okay, is proportional to the frequency. His energy is proportional to the frequency. So by that, he given a formula for the energy is equals to H into V. H into V here. So where H is the Planck's constant, and that is equals to 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joules second. That is the value of Planck's constant. Okay, so this is the intensity and the wavelength relationship. Okay, so next we have photoelectric effect. So this photoelectric effect, right, by the Heinrich Hertz, he performed an experiment, right, where he applied, okay, he has taken a light beam, and he allowed it to strike the metal atom. Okay, so he said that when the electrons will get ejected when a light beam when a light beam, right, strikes the metal atom. He said that electrons will be ejected when the light beam strikes the metal atom. So he performed an experiment here. Let us see that. So he has taken a tube where he has inserted one metal surface here, right? And he has joined it with the battery here. And inside it, he had a detector, electron detector, right? And he allowed to fall or a light beam onto this metal surface, right? So when this metal surface is when the light beam is falling on this metal surface, there are electrons generated, and these electrons are traveled from cathode to the anode. And this detector, right, detected these electrons, and when the electrons are or reaching this detector, what happened? The circuit formation, and this will allowed the electricity passage. And this ammeter gave us the confirmation. Reading of this ammeter shows us that there is an electron generation and the circuit completion. So as this is a vacuum, there is no medium here to travel the charged particles here. So whenever the light beam is falling onto this metal surface, the charged particle is generated, and those traveled from this metal surface to this here, and that is how the energy was released. So electrons are only will travel, right, from the cathode to the anode, that are negative charge particles that we have already learnt, right? So that electrons are ejected when the light beam is striking the metal atom. So this he performed this experiment by using the metals potassium and rubidium and cesium. So these are the examples of metals that he has used for this experiment. Okay, so this is about the photoelectric effect. So what are the conclusions that he made, or what are the observations that he made on this photoelectric effect? First one, so this electron emission is happening immediately, which means no time gap, right, between the striking of the light beam and ejection of electron, right? That is the first point. No time gap, immediately the electrons are emitted, right? And the second point is the number of electrons are dependent frequency of light beam, and each metal, okay, different metals has a characteristic, right, energy required, or we say the frequency of light. So each metal requires a characteristic, means each metal has a various requirement of this frequency for the emission of this electron. So he named this electron, or we say the characteristic energy of frequency, as the threshold energy, threshold frequency. So that is indicated with the V naught. right? So when this frequency is more than the threshold frequency, then only there will be electron generation or electron emission, and that electrons will have the kinetic energy. Kinetic energy of electron will be seen, means electrons will be emitted. So when there is no kinetic energy, you will not see, means the electrons will not move, right? So then the kinetic energy of electron will not be possible. So we can say that kinetic energy, right, of this electron, that is nothing but the energy of these electrons will be h into v naught, right? And this kinetic energy is proportional to the, right, kinetic energy is proportional of electron is proportional to the frequency, right? It is proportional to the frequency. So next we have the energy of light. Energy of light will decide, right, the bright spot, whatever the bright spot that we have, that we are getting, right? Bright spot, right? So as the energy of light is depending, giving us the bright spot, what is the intensity of bright spot? So which says that the energy of light is dependent on the number of electrons, right? Means how many number of electrons will be emitted. Yes or no? By the classical physics. But we know that by the particle nature of matter, particle nature of electromagnetic radiation, that this energy of light, this number of electrons emitted, right, these are not depending on the energy of light, or we say the frequency, right? But the kinetic energy of the electron is depending on the frequency of the light. Frequency of light. Okay. To explain this, we can perform an experiment where you can say that you can take the red light and allow it to fall on the metal, that is potassium. Okay, potassium. So what is the wavelength of this or frequency of this red light? That is 4.3 to 4.6 into 10 to the power of 14 hertz, right? So what happens when this red light is falling onto this potassium metal? There will be a bright spot will be seen, but no electron ejection will be seen. No electron ejection. Electron ejection will not be seen. Here the bright spot will be seen, right? So, and another frequency, let us take the yellow light. Yellow light. So what is the frequency of yellow light? That is 5.1 to 5.3 into 10 to the power of 14 hertz. So what happens? Same, we are taking on to the potassium metal, right? So then what happens? The bright spot will be seen. Bright spot will be seen, and this electron ejection will also be seen here. So bright spot will be seen, and this electron ejection will also be seen. So which shows that the minimum energy or the minimum frequency required for the potassium, right, that is nothing but the threshold frequency, right? That indicates that threshold frequency of potassium. Frequency of potassium is how much? 5.0 into 10 to the power of 14 hertz. So beyond this 5.0 and 10 to the power of 14 hertz only, we will see the electron ejection from the potassium metal. Okay. So this is about the quantizing, means we have quantized the electromagnetic radiation, means how much energy is released, right, in the radiation process, that we have quantized, means we have given a value to it, right, magnitude of the energy, for the electromagnetic radiation. Okay. So after that, what happened? These for photoelectric effect and the Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetism, right? The definitions, or we say the explanation, was not up to the clarity, right? It had no clarity. So what happened? The scientist named Albert Einstein, right? He explained this photoelectric effect with the help of Planck's quantum theory. Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation. So he said that when photons, nothing but the light particles, when photons or the light particles strikes the metals, what happens? The energy of these light particles, right, whenever they strike the metals, that energy will transform into the metal atoms, and immediately these metal atoms, right, acquire that energy of from the light or the photons, and they will use that energy and convert it into kinetic energy, and the electrons, right, get emitted. Okay. So whenever photons or the light particles strikes the metal atoms, what happens? These atoms will acquire these light particles, that are energy of these photons, and the electrons will get emitted with the kinetic energy. So whatever the kinetic energy is released here, right, of these electrons, so this kinetic energy is proportional to the frequency, right? The frequency is proportional, right, to the kinetic energy. Means, so whatever the kinetic energy that we'll get, that has directly proportional to the frequency of the photons. So that will give us the energy required is h into v, right, that we have from the Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation. So the minimum required energy, or we say the threshold energy, threshold frequency required, right? So if you can apply that, so the minimum energy, kinetic energy required of electrons to get emitted, right, kinetic energy minimum, right, that is equals to, right, that is h into v naught. So that nothing but the work function when the electrons get emitted, at what point the electrons get emitted, so that is indicated with w naught, right? So here we can say that the electrons threshold energy or threshold kinetic energy of this electrons is h into v naught. We can see that the work function also, example 3. Calculate the energy of 1 mole of photons radiating whose frequency is 5 into 10 to the power of 14 hertz. So we have the frequency, that is nothing but v, so that is 5 into 10 to the power of 14 hertz, right? So for energy of one photon, one photon, energy for one photon is nothing but h into v. So what is this h? H is Planck's constant, right? 6 into 6 to 6 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joules second, right? Into what is the v? 5 into 10 to the power of 14 into 14 hertz, right? So what is the value of this? So this value will become 3.313 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule, 10 to the power of minus 19 joule. So this is for the one photon. For 1 mole of photons, so the energy per 1 mole of photons, we can see that the energy for 1 mole of photon, that is nothing but energy for 1 photon, right, into the Avogadro number, So what is that Avogadro number? So if you can just simply multiply both of them, 3.313 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules into Avogadro number is 6.022 into 10 to the power of 20 per moles, 20 to the power of 23 per mole. Okay, so if you can just multiply this, the energy per 1 mole of photon you will get as how much? 199.51 joules per mole. 199.51 joules per mole here. Sorry, here is kilojoules per mole. 199.5 into 51 kilojoules per mole. Okay. So next example, we have a bulb, right, which emits 100 watt of power, right, and the wavelength of 400 nanometers. Calculate the number of photons emitted per second by the bulb. So let us first take the power of bulb. Power of bulb is 100 watts. So 100 watts, if you can change it into joules per second, 100 joules per second. Right? Now, energy per 1 photon. Here, wavelength is given, right? So we have to find the number of photons. So to find the number of photon, how much energy is for 1 photon? So for 1 photon, so that is h into v. So we don't know the frequency, but we know the wavelength. So that formula we can change into c by lambda, right? C by lambda. So h is how? What is the h? 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joules second into c is 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second divided by what is the lambda? That is 400 nanometers. 400. So if you can change the nanometers, so 1 nanometer is equals to 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. So that will be 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. So if you can just simplify it, you will get the value of 4.969 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. So this is for the 1 photon, so energy for 1 photons. So how many photons will be emitted by 100 watt of power? So that number of photons released or emitted is equals to the energy of bulb by the energy of 1 photon. So that will be how much? 100 watts. So the 100 joules per second divided by 4.969 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. 2.012 into 10 to the power of 20 10 to the power of 20 per second. Number of photons is 2.012 into 10 to the power of 20 photons per second. Next, example number 5. So if you can see that when an electromagnetic radiation of wavelength 300 nanometers falls on the surface of sodium, so the electrons are emitted with a kinetic energy of 1.68 into 10 to the power of 5 joules per mole. So what is the minimum energy needed to remove an electron? Minimum energy to remove an electron from sodium and maximum wavelength that will cause a photoelectron to be emitted. So for that, first we'll start what is the energy of one photon. So for the energy of one, here electrons are emitted, right? So one photon. What is that formula? H into V. So wavelength is given, that frequency is not given. So simply we'll use the C by lambda formula. So what is that H? H is 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joule second into what is the C? C is 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second, right? And lambda is nothing but the value of wavelength 300 nanometers, same the formula 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. So if you can just simplify it, you will get the value of how much? 6.626 into 10 to the power of 9, and this will become minus 7. Minus 7 goes to plus 8 plus 8 plus 7, that will be 15, and 15 minus 34 plus 15 and plus 34, that will be minus 19 joules. Minus 19, right? This is of the energy of one photon. Then the energy of 1 mole of photon. 1 mole of photon. So how do we find it out? So we can just multiply this 6.626, right, into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules with the Avogadro number. What is the Avogadro number? 6.022 into 10 to the power of how much? 10 to the power of 23 per mole. 10 to the power of 23 per mole. So we'll get a value as 3.99 into 10 to the power of 14 joules. Sorry, 3 into 10 to the power of 5 joules. So this is the energy, or we say the kinetic energy released by 1 mole of photon. So he said that the kinetic energy is released by that electron is 1.68 into 10 to the power of 5 joules per mole. So we can find the minimum energy required for that. That is nothing but the difference between this kinetic energy and the energy that we have got here. So the minimum energy required is 3.99 into 10 to the power of 5 joules per mole minus 1.68 into 10 to the power of 5 joules per mole. So that will be how much? That value will be 2.31 into 10 to the power of 5 joules per mole. So this amount of energy is required to remove an electron from the sodium. Okay. Then what is the minimum energy required? Minimum energy for 1 mole here, right? So here for 1 electron. So that how we can find out? By using the Avogadro number. Simply divide this energy with the Avogadro number. 2.31 into 10 to the power of 5 divided by 6.022 into 10 to the power of 23 per mole, right? So what you will get? You will get 3.84 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. Minus 19 joules. So this is the minimum energy for one electron. This is the energy of the electron that we have found. Now we have to find out what is the wavelength. So we know the energy, so we can find the wavelength. We know the formula h into v, so this frequency. So from here, if you can just change it into h into c by lambda, right? So that is nothing but, if we want to find out the lambda, right? So that will become h into c by e. So simply substitute the values here. H is 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joules second into 3.0 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second divided by E. E is what? The energy here. That is 3.84 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. So you will get the frequency, we will get the frequency here as the wavelength here as the, you will get the wavelength here as the 517, right? That is nothing but the 517 hertz, right? So that indicates the green light. That indicates the green light. Okay, so this is about the example 5 solution. Okay, so all of you, I hope you have understood this lecture here. So today's quotation, right, that is nothing but the action is the real measure of the intelligence. So how intelligent you are, what is your intelligence, that can be measured only by the what action that you are taking by using that intelligence. For what reason, for what work, purpose that you are using that intelligence, that gives a measurement of your intelligence. So as we are saying, keep studying and happy learning, all of you. All the best, prepare well and complete the DPPs. Okay, so we'll meet in the next lecture. Thank you so much.